Hello everyone, this is Michelle and I'm here to do your July 2020 interactive astrology reading. We've been doing these for a couple of months now and I'm having fun with it. I hope you are too. This reading is a little bit different than some of the other readings that you might be watching because, as you can see, I'm using an Aries wheel. So we have Aries on the cusp of the first house. And on the inner wheel, you see we have two wheels here also. On the inner wheel, we have July 1st. This is July 1st. And then on the outer wheel, we also have July 1st. But I have two wheels here because I am going to move the planets around a bit as we go through the month. So the idea here is that you can actually take the interpretations that I'm going to provide and apply them to your own natal chart. So if you don't have your natal chart handy, simply pause the video. There are many good chart generators out there. Currently, I am plugging AstroSeek because I just think they have a really good chart generator. No affiliation with the website, but you might check that out. Perhaps bring it up in a secondary smaller window, and then you can follow along. Even better, perhaps if you can, print it out and you'll always have it handy. So that's how we're going to go along. And if you really just can't bring up the chart at the moment, then really not to worry, because you'll know how these interpretations are going to impact your life anyway. You'll know where they're happening. All right, so it'll be a little bit more customized. So let's get started now with actually the first planet that I want to focus on, and that is, you'll see here I have it circled, it's Uranus in Taurus. It's at 9 degrees. So let's just break this down a little bit. We know that Uranus is a planet of disruption. So wherever there are things that are really fixed and in a very set position for too long, and especially if that fixed system is in some way not beneficial, Uranus comes in to break up the system. Now we also know that Taurus is about stability, patience, and reliability. So if we put the two together, we are looking at a dismantling or a breaking apart of a system that has to do with possessions, finance, money, stability in those areas, and how we bring those resources into our environment. That's also a second house feature, of course, right? There's a lot of overlap. And so let me just take a moment to explain this. We have Taurus here in the second house on the Aries wheel, but you might have Taurus anywhere, right? Anywhere on the wheel. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But my point being that your personal possessions, things that you bring into yourself, places of stability in life, can be associated with the house where Taurus is in your natal chart. Now, because this involves Uranus, we're all going through this, right? We are all going through this. This is a planet that impacts populations. However, by looking at your natal chart, you can customize this a bit more and glean some more insight. So let's just take a look. We're going to focus in on this Uranus. You're taking a look at your chart and you're looking for Taurus. Where is Taurus in your chart? So let's focus in just a little bit on how Uranus and Taurus might be impacting you personally based on your natal chart. So to do this, you're going to want to look at your natal chart and find the sign of Taurus. All right, so you'll be looking for this glyph right here. It's a little circle with some like horns on it, like a bull, right? Okay, so you're looking for this. Now, let us say that Taurus is in your first house, especially on the cusp, okay? Especially on the cusp. Let's say you have Taurus on the cusp of the first house. Or Taurus on the 5th. Or perhaps you have Taurus in the 9th. No, not to worry if you don't have Taurus in any of those, because I'm going to cover all of the houses here. If you have Taurus on the 1st, the 5th, or the 9th, then this disruption, potentially related to finances and stability in life, but it could be really anything that has been stable, right? It can pertain to something that has to do with your identity. Or perhaps it is impacting how you become inspired in life. You may find that that is changing. It's possible that your belief system is taking a very drastic change at this time. So that would be the 1st, 5th, or the 9th. Now, let's imagine that Taurus actually is in the 2nd, which it is associated with, or Taurus is in the 6th, or you have Taurus in the 10th. These are considered the houses of wealth. And so, wow, there's kind of a little double whammy there, because we already know that Taurus and Uranus combined is talking about a disruption having to do with resources or material needs. And so if you have Uranus and Taurus in either of those houses, 2nd, 6th, or 10th, you could find that the biggest disruption in life right now has to do with your work or your career. Perhaps you might find that your career aspirations are changing. Whether you like them to or not, they could be changing. Or there is a drastic change in how you are bringing in resources to your life. Now let's imagine now that Taurus is on the 3rd, okay, Taurus in the 3rd, the 7th, or the 11th. So this would be saying that this is where you have Uranus placed. Right now we're looking at 9 degrees, but Uranus takes a long time to go through a sign, so this is a long-acting transit. So with Taurus in the 3rd, 7th, or 11th, it could be that what you're feeling is a really drastic change in relationships. Your social life. Well, of course, many of us are experiencing a drastic change in social life. With the pandemic, we're all shut in, or practicing social distancing, or not. And so we're all experiencing that. But if you have Taurus in the 3rd, 7th, or 11th, you might feel that more than anything else. So we are all going through the economic trials as a population, really globally. But for you, it might be that you're really sensing it in terms of a partnership, friendships that you had, groups that you're involved in. So do you have Uranus in the 3rd, 7th, or the 11th? Or Taurus in the 8th? All right, affiliated with Scorpio, but your chart might have Taurus on the 8th. Or perhaps you have Taurus on the 12th. These are very mysterious houses. They have to do with deep emotions and subconscious material. So if you have Taurus in those houses, 4th, 8th, or 12th, it could be that the changes that you're experiencing are so internal and deep that it could be hard to even explain or describe what you're going through in words. But you can feel it on a very deep level. Now, I want to mention something else here. On a global level or a national level, of course, these are drastic changes that are occurring, having to do with our economy. But it is also possible that where Uranus is transiting in your chart, you could experience some extremely positive changes, and they could come about very, very quickly. So something in your life, of course, look at the house again, something in your life, you may find that all of a sudden there was a very drastic shift, and this really benefited you, or is going to benefit you moving forward in life. Both things can be true at the same time. The more general reading, and also the possibility of something very positive happening and also involving some sort of opportunity. So now let's take a look at the next aspect that we want to get into, and then we're going to combine those two, the Uranus, and then this next aspect, the Sun, conjunct Mercury in Cancer. All right, we can see the two right here together. Well, we say planets, but we know that the Sun is the Sun. But in astrology, we call everything a planet. We might call it a luminary. But we have the Sun and Mercury conjunct at 9 degrees, with Mercury retrograde. So let's break this down just a little bit. The Sun is the focal point for the chart. It's like a spotlight. It tells us where our heart is, perhaps where our concerns are for a particular time. And it also talks about willpower. So there's a lot of focus on the area of Cancer. Cancer, all right, if we think about that and break it down, we're talking about a protective energy, a very sensitive energy, maternal even. And there can also be some fluctuating moods associated with Cancer. And so if we think about these things together, what we come up with is an understanding that our focus is becoming a lot more personal now. Our attention is turning in towards ourselves, our own personal needs, our families. We have had a lot of concern about what is going on in the community at large, of course. That also involves Uranus. But as time goes on with all of the current problems that we're facing, more and more, the Sun in Cancer is suggesting that we need to think about protecting the home front. What do we need to do to get through this situation and to assure that our families are also cared for? Now we can go through the houses again. I'm going to go through them a little bit more quickly this time, but I want to give you a chance to see where Cancer is located in your chart, because where Cancer is at this time, you might feel a shift, I want to say, in attention towards your own needs and your family's needs a little bit more. So let's go over those houses once again. I'm going to do it a little bit more quickly this time because we went through it at a moderate pace, shall we say, the first time. So this will just give you a chance to look at your own natal chart and get a sort of fix on where Cancer is located. Is it on the 1st, the 5th, or the 9th? The houses of life? Is your identity or your inspiration or your faith connected with your family? Is Cancer on the 2nd, the 6th, or the 10th? Is there some way that emotions and feelings or ideas about family are connected with your, I want to say, your career or your work, or the way that you bring resources into your life? Your family might actually be your career. We could put it that way. That's possible. Your everyday work could be very closely related to family matters or caring for other individuals. Is Cancer on the 3rd, the 7th, or the 11th? The houses of relationship. So it could be that you're very concerned at this time, perhaps not so much with the broader whole entire planet and world, but at this point you're focusing in more on your partnerships, your friends, and perhaps associations that you are involved in, perhaps acquaintances, but not the entire world at large. There can actually be both going on at this time, I should say. But there's a sense that, I need to I want to say almost like close my ranks here and be concerned about what's happening closer to me. Do you have Cancer on the 4th, which is the house that it would be associated with, or the 8th, or the 12th? Those houses of emotion and the subconscious. In that case, you could just have a deep down feeling that I need to take care of myself and my own right now. It could be something along the lines of, I only have so much energy. I only have so much energy for this. And as much as I want to help everyone in the entire world, you could feel like I just need to focus on what I'm going to do to get myself through this and my family. And so now we are going to pull these 2 transits together. These are some difficult planetary aspects, looking at them individually, and also some of the aspects that we're going to look at even together are very difficult. We can see that. It's the reality of what's happening in the world today. But the July chart is particularly interesting in that it has so many sextiles. This is one of 5 that we will look at. This is the first one. Now, we've talked all about the Sun and Cancer, and we have Mercury here as well, suggesting the mind is also very focused on these personal needs and family. And we've talked about Uranus and Taurus and how things are being disrupted. But we have this sextile right now. The 60-degree angle, you can see the green line here. And this is telling us that there are opportunities to solve these personal problems that are impacting ourselves and our loved ones. It could be with the conjunction between the Sun and Mercury that there are actually going to be some moments of brilliance. Take time to reflect and think about how you might move forward, because you might find that your mind is really suddenly coming up with some beautiful solutions. Let us hope also that this happens on a more global level, that people involved in troubleshooting and figuring out paths forward are also going to come up with some brilliant ideas at this time. So this is very, very positive. So this brings us to the second sextile that we want to take a look at, because the entire chart is really talking about opportunities despite the difficulties. So now again, we'll get oriented. Where is Aries in your chart? Okay, so we're looking at Aries again, and let's notice that Mars is here at 1 degree of Aries. Mars is the ruler of Aries. Okay, so this is a very powerful position. And we have the same situation going on here with Saturn at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So a very strong position to be in. Between the two, we have a 60-degree angle, approximately. Well, that's really close for the beginning of the month. And this is saying that there are some opportunities coming up. With Mars and Aries, we're looking at a lot of energy, drive, and passion. Where Aries is located in your chart, you could feel a real shot in the arm in the month of July. A lot of energy coming in. Also, it could be the sense of a new beginning, a new pathway. Perhaps you feel brave and are going to take some sort of venture with Mars in Aries. Thinking about Saturn in Aquarius, we're looking at hard work, sacrifice, and the concept of things taking time. Now, Aries isn't very patient, but this is a good thing here because it's saying that, we can have the patience to do this, to stick with it, to work hard, and to achieve the goals that we have worked so long for. Some of us are going to feel like, you know what, I'm going to give this one more chance. I'm going to stick to it, and I am going to get this thing done. We can have the energy and the discipline to do this. Where is Capricorn in your natal chart? Because if you can find Capricorn, you'll have a sense about the area of life where perhaps there has been a very big transformation going on. Perhaps there has been a lot of work occurring in order to achieve something. And now is not the time to give up. The chart is seeing to continue on to achieve your goals, to attain those dreams, and to find some sort of way to make this accomplishment. So this is an opportunity occurring. This is a sort of fast-moving transit, right? With Mars, it's not, as fast as Mercury or Venus, but still, it's suggesting like there's an opening here, and this might be something you're thinking about in July. Like, yes, I am going to do this thing. Now let's take a look at the fourth sextile. We looked at the Sun and Mercury sextile Uranus. That's 2. We looked at Mars and Saturn. That's 3. And now we are looking at Mars and Venus, the fourth sextile. So the chart is telling us very clearly that there are opportunities during this time. Mars in Aries is all about passion, positivity, and risk-taking, being bold, being brave, being willing to try something new. And then we have Venus here, Venus in Gemini. Venus, of course, in Gemini would be about communication, love, and relationships. So, we have a lot of things going on, a lot of problem solving that needs to take place in July that we spoke about. And this particular aspect and transit is telling me that we are going to receive some, I want to say, support from either another person, a particular person, or it could be a group of people. But there's going to be some passionate communication going on between people. And it is going to boost our confidence. We're going to get a shot in the arm in terms of energy when we are communicating with this person or these people. It could be an existing relationship that you're already in, or it could be a new relationship that comes into life. This person supports the ideas that you have about how to get through these difficult times. And this person supports your goals, your dreams, and your positive vision for the future. So despite all the difficulties that are going on, the chart is also bringing in some support here in terms of communication, and it's beautiful to see. All right, so overall for the first half of the month, I know we've kept the chart on July 1st, but this is really covering the first half of the month. We are working on ways to make life better, for ourselves and our families having to do with cancer. And we're doing this with a very positive mindset. We are looking for opportunities to complete projects and accomplish goals, to find new ways of living, all about Capricorn up here. It looks like there is potentially a relationship for some people. It could be with a partner, a new partner, or an existing partner, and that person supports our efforts and really helps us to feel better. All right, now we are getting into the second half of the month. And what we are seeing is this is a more difficult aspect and transit that we'll be dealing with in our chart. But before I get into it, let me preface by saying that there's a very positive message also involved. So again, of course, the sun is in Cancer, and so that's a big focus for us. You can see now that I have moved the sun up to the middle of the month, and that is 22 degrees of Cancer on July 15th. It is now in direct opposition to Jupiter here at 22 degrees of Capricorn, and also there is a conjunction with Pluto. Saturn is not far off, and so it's important that we break this down. This is really the sign of the times for everyone. We're all going through this again. This is kind of like the population at large, but also there's a way that this can be impacting us individually. So again, the sun in Cancer, we're talking about emotions, we're talking about fluctuations, family, the home front. With Jupiter in Capricorn, we are talking about our desires in life really expanding. The things that we really want to achieve in life, we can feel those really growing inside. With Pluto in Capricorn, and this is such a slow-moving transit, there has been a very big transformation happening in life in that area of the chart. It's true that it's happening to society at large, but where is Capricorn in your natal chart? Now you can get right back to it, right? Because we've already gone over it. So you can, right where it is. Which house is that? Because this suggests that there's a very big change happening in life. It could take many, many years to get through this. But with the conjunction happening with Jupiter, with the opposition from the sun, this is like a focal point. It is going to impact everyone, as I said, but it can also impact you very personally. And also, you will want to take note of whether or not you have any planets in these positions at these degrees or personal points. So by personal points, I would mean the ascendant, the descendant, the IC, or the MC. Okay, do you have any of these degrees, whether it's in Capricorn or Cancer? Even you consider that in terms of Uranus here as well. So what we're seeing with this conjunction here happening in Capricorn is that there's going to be, I feel, a potential for people to start feeling a little burned out in terms of compassion, how much compassion they have for other people. If you're an essential worker in the medical field, first let me just say thank you. I think I've said that in the past, but let me just say it again, because I really don't even know how you all are getting through this. And thank you for doing that. That's just an understatement. But it can be for those types of workers, and even people at large, that we are just starting to feel like that well of compassion is beginning to run a little bit dry. But now let's take a look at what I see as really the most important message coming through with this opposition and with these planets in these later degrees of Capricorn, and it has to do with Saturn. We can see Saturn now at 29 degrees of Capricorn retrograde, coming back in. Why is this happening at this time? I feel like in reading the stars, we are reading messages, just as we would when we read the cards or read anything in a divinatory manner. So there is a message here, and it is this: we can do this thing. We can do this. Saturn is about toughness and sacrifice, persistence. In Capricorn, it's about fighting for our goals and what we want, what we have worked so hard for. We have been working at these particular accomplishments for many, many years, some of us. And Saturn is coming back to say, do not give up this fight. You can do this. You will have the discipline, and you will also have the time to be able to accomplish these goals. Now, following up on this idea of having the strength to finish our work and accomplish things and get things done, we want to take a look at the water trine that is occurring mid-month between the Sun in Cancer and Neptune in Pisces. Neptune retrograde at this time in Pisces. We see this beautiful water trine occurring. This is a reminder that with all the difficulties that we're facing, it's going to be very important to take time out to build ourselves up spiritually, to find peace, and to nourish the soul. Where is Pisces in your natal chart? I think you already know where Cancer is, because we've talked about it so many times. Oh boy, if you keep watching these videos, you're going to be like right on top of it immediately. You're going to know, oh, Cancer, yes, I know exactly what house that is and what it's all about. But we'll get there, right? Even for my own chart, sometimes I have to double check. Okay, what house is that? All right, so we want to make sure that we look at this more flowing, easier aspect occurring. It's never one way. Even though things are so difficult right now, boy, it's a hard time to read a chart even right now with everything that's going on. But there's always some positivity at the same time. This particular aspect is telling me that it's going to be really important to take time out to build ourselves up spiritually, to find some peace, to nourish the soul. And so again, look for Pisces in the chart. Where is Cancer in the chart? These are areas where perhaps we can find some retreat, where perhaps we can connect again with the higher power, however we frame that concept, and ask for strength. We do want to be quite careful that in the areas of life where we have these water signs, that we engage in positive, healthy activities. All right, not things that might physically harm us or even mentally harm us. What I'm talking about here, just to clarify, is like escapism through negative means that wouldn't be healthy for us. There can be a temptation for that for a lot of us now, I think, right? Just to kind of get away from everything. And so, we're going to have to rely on our discipline to do things like meditation, prayer, getting out into nature, connecting with the sunshine and the breeze, the air, getting your feet on the ground. If you have a big body of water somewhere like a lake or an ocean, just going down and being next to that water and connecting with the earth, this is going to be very replenishing in the month of July for all of us. By the end of the month, Mercury will also follow suit and be in a trine, and so it kind of follows up along, and this concept is with us for the entire mid-month to the end of the month. All right, now we want to conclude our reading with an aspect that comes up at the end of the month, and you'll see that I have moved the planets around to July 29th in the outer wheel. We are looking at, yet again, another sextile. This is our 5th one that we've looked at, and so clearly there is a message of opportunity for the month of July. The first planet we want to take note of is, of course, Jupiter, retrograde in Capricorn, and then we want to think about Neptune in Pisces, all right, at 20 degrees. All right, so we can see the exact 20-degree, right, aspect here. So that's 60 degrees exactly. It's like a snap, all right? So it's like on the 29th of July, there is a snap that occurs, and we are reminded of this particular message. Let's break it down just a little bit. Jupiter in Capricorn. Jupiter is about enlargement, expansion, and growth. Capricorn is about achievement, strategies to reach goals, and upward movement. And so there's an area of life in your chart, Capricorn, where you could be feeling this urge to make achievements. Let's think about Neptune now. When we're talking about Neptune, we're thinking about compassion, empathy, spirituality, love in the highest sense. And then with Pisces, we're thinking about flexibility, also compassion and spirituality, psychic abilities, mediumistic abilities, connecting with the collective. And so where is Pisces in your chart? Because it could be that you are opening up spiritually, even psychically, mediumistically. You might be receiving messages from the metaphysical realm. Especially on this particular day or towards the end of July, you might feel that, the sort of like opening up. So this message is telling us that there is a great opportunity in July to take the path of love. There is a great opportunity to grow in spiritual understanding about your place and your purpose in this world. All right, everyone. That's your reading for July 2020. I want to thank you so much for being here, for watching and listening. It is a pleasure and a privilege to do these readings for you. And I'll see you next time.